The new-look Chicago Bulls take a tough loss to the Toronto Raptors, but there are some key positives to take away from this game, and we're going to get into that right after this. The Chicago Bulls were in Toronto last night to take on the Toronto Raptors, and they did come out losing that game 123 to 107. But there are some key things to take away from this game. Three key players that Chicago Bulls played for were able to play last night, and they did. Anthony Simons, Jaden Ivey, and Gershon Yabusele all played in this game against the Toronto Raptors, and they all three played very well. The biggest surprise out of this game is Gershon Yabusele. He played 33 minutes, 15 points, 6-11 from the field, 3 for 6 from 3, 11 rebounds, 3 assists, 2 steals, and he looked phenomenal. Obviously he was one of the biggest questions coming in after the Dalen Terry trade, and which Dalen Terry got rerouted to the New Orleans Pelicans, which sent Jose Alvarado to the Knicks. But he honestly really did surprise me. Watching the game, I was very surprised watching it. And he looked very good. His pick and roll, his defense, everything about his game looked very smooth. It looked like it fit in to this Billy Donovan defensive strategy and rotations. And obviously, the two other guys to really talk about is Anthony Simons played really well. 32 minutes on 8 of 15 shooting to get 22 points, 6 for 13 from 3, 2 rebounds, 3 assists. He had 3 turnovers, but obviously that's going to happen. He's still kind of getting into the flow of this offensive game and scheme that Billy Donovan is putting on. And then you have Jaden Ivey, 33 minutes, 13 points, 5 of 12 shooting, 3 for 5 from 3, 4 rebounds, 6 assists, 3 steals. Jaden Ivey showed his defensive potential in this game, and he looked absolutely amazing. I thought his defensive rotations were very well, and his on-ball defense was very well played as well. Obviously, then you have Modest Buzelis, 18 points, 7-11 from the field, 2 for 6 from 3, 6 rebounds, 3 assists, 1 steal, 1 block. And, obviously we don't have a big right now. We're still waiting on Nick Richards in that trade to get pending. It's pending and still waiting for that to go through. And Josh Giddey is injured. But I feel like once Josh Giddey comes back, he'll really be able to survey that offense. We also didn't have Rob Dillingham, which that trade is still pending as well. But obviously, I think Rob would have been coming off the bench here. Patrick Williams did not have a good game. 9 points, 3 of 12 shooting, 3 for 8 from 3, 1 rebound, 2 assists, and 1 block. Patrick Williams, we've talked about it before with his game and the stuff that he does. Mac McClung actually got into this game as well. He had played 13 minutes, 4 points, 2 or 7 from the field. Didn't shoot the ball too well. And then Yuki also got in this game as well. 3 points on 1 of 4 shooting. He had 7 assists to add on to that. But I just think with all the trades that the Bulls have made, they're 24-28 now after this loss. And Brandon Ingram was on fire this game. He had 33 points. And then Jamal Sheed was dishing the ball like it was nothing. He made it look very easy. And, once again, the turnovers are really the biggest problem here for the Bulls. They had 17 on the game, and the Raptors had 12. They had 22 points off. We had 22 points off turnovers. They only had 16. But still, they shouldn't be this many turnovers, as well as the fast break points. We had 7, they had 17. And then points in paint, they had 60, we had 44. Obviously, we don't have it big. That's going to be really hard to do and stop teams from scoring in the paint if you don't have a big on your roster. There's a few times that Yuki had to switch on to a bigger guy, and they just kind of dominate him in the paint, and they scored every time. You can't really control things like that. Yuki is very small. It's going to be hard for him to defend players like that. That's where help defense and stuff like that is going to have to come in and play a factor in games like this when you're undersized. The Bulls have been undersized for however long. Ever since Vooch, he was not undersized, but he just never played defense. But the Bulls have always played small ball, and this is even more. This is smaller than I've ever seen the Chicago Bulls play. So we're kind of have to really work through this lineup until Nick Richards finally gets in that starting spot. Jalen Smith, obviously he's at the center spot, but his true position is power forward. He played 24 minutes, 13 points, 6-11 from the field, 9 rebounds, 1 assist, 1 steal. He had a great game, but Billy Donovan only played him 24 minutes. You you really got to play him more than that. But I really just think that there's a lot of key positives to take out of this game with the new additions to the team. Jaden Ivey, Anthony Simons all played really well. Gershon Yabusele played out of his mind. He was the biggest surprise out of this game. I was very surprised watching the game, and I was like, okay, maybe we did find something here. With his how he played in Philly, they really gave him his potential was really unlocked in Philly. They gave him a very big role, and he shined when they gave him that role. The Knicks really didn't give him too much of a role. He didn't play much on the Knicks, and I think Yabusele is going to be a key factor for the Chicago Bulls team, and I think he's going to be very nice for this team under Billy Donovan as a wing. But that's going to be all for this one. Let me know what you guys think about this new roster and what the Bulls should do or what they have to do to continue to win games, or do you think they're just going to tank it out for the rest of the season? But that's going to be all for this one. Hope you guys enjoyed, and I'll see you guys in the next one.